Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the September update to the best champions for Battlegrounds. We've been doing this since before Battlegrounds started, and so many of you have told me it's been really helpful to when you want to consider a rank up for Battlegrounds, going here, and then when the specific meta comes out for the season, you've already got a bunch of champions ready to go. Maybe you only have to rank up one or two more. I know I've been using it, and it's been extremely successful for me. We will cover the buff champions like Rhino right there, or of course the new champions, of course promotions and demotions, which we have almost every single month, because Battlegrounds really is so sensitive to even just one big defender or one big attacker coming into the game. We will jump right into this, but one thing beforehand, if you could do me a huge favor and help me thank Simula, right? Phenomenal channel who's given so much of their time, expertise, and knowledge to being on the Illuminati over a very, very long time. The next time you plan to use my creator code of Vega, and there's been so many of you, and I greatly appreciate it, I'm going to ask you to use Simula's code instead. So the next time you were going to use mine as a way to help me thank him for all the knowledge share he has given, use the creator code Simula instead, and then put it in the comments or follow me on Twitter. The screenshot size of this will be going up within hours of the video itself going live. Go ahead and put it in there, show off, be proud. Hey, you helped support Simula, and I will read those out over the course of my streams for the upcoming month. Again, you can then go back to using mine. I really appreciate it. It is very meaningful to me, but at least once, I would really appreciate it if you would use Simula's code when you had intended to use mine. And then of course, keep Simula in your regular rotation as you go about using those codes. All right, we will go ahead and talk about Rhino here. This is a 7. I actually think that when Rhino is available as a 7-star, for people who take him up to rank 3 or rank 4, or whatever the tier they're doing Battlegrounds is, I think he's probably gonna be more like an 8, but right now he is 6-star locked. The Unstoppable lasts a very, very, very long time. You really need to handle it in my experience. And then they did this thing, a little annoying, a little frustrating, but I get it. They're trying to progress things. And the Rhino reduces the ability accuracy of bleeds by 75%. So many of our great skill attackers are bleeding, okay? Bleeders. So we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. This is always interesting when they buff a champion. They're only a 6-star locked. It's like Betsy Braddock, right? Captain Britain. But then they start coming in at 7 stars and we're like, okay, we got to handle him. This is someone who's going to make a splash. I actually think Reno and also Rhino are going to make big splashes when when he is available as a 7-star and people start ranking him up. And remember, just because we start with defenders and because there is a smaller portion of them doesn't mean they're not important. In fact, defenders might be the most important building block of your deck. It's a really big, it's a large part of doing well in Battlegrounds. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the attackers. As we move into the Scorching and Super Hot tiers of attackers, you can see there's only one change. So I'm going to talk about her a little bit while you take a look at this. And then remember, on my Twitter will be the screenshot size as well, too. And make sure you go ahead and let me know there that you supported Simula. I'd like to get a big thank you out for you. The one is going to be Kate Bishop. She was the last 6-star lock champion that was still holding on strong with a score of a 9. Myself, the Illuminati, talked about it this time. And we're like, even with this last meta that was really helping her out a lot, she was struggling to keep up with the rank 4s. Yes, sometimes in the nuke meta it was still happening, don't get me wrong, but as 7-star rank 4s are becoming more and more prevalent, particularly from our defenders with health pools or different damage mitigation mechanics or these sorts of things, she's struggling. Now, don't get me wrong. If 7-star Kate Bishop came out, she's going to fly right back up to the top of the list. Not that many champions are immune to cold snap. She does so much stupid, absurd damage. I mean, like I said, I have a love-hate with these sorts of champions. I love my broken champions. And this is specifically rated to Battlegrounds. You can hear me talk about her a bit more in the general tier list, which is coming out in just a week. But as far as this is concerned, she's still worthy of you ranking up. If you're trying to get Necropolis done or something like that, go for it. But if you're really looking to be competitive in Battlegrounds, of course, she's nice to have. There's certain metas that are going to elevate her a little bit, but she's down here more as an 8, and I'll fix that. I see she should actually be above Falcon. And these are champions who are given the meta or your deck construction, can do tremendous things. If you look at it like Morbius, Anti-Venom, Spider-Punk, these are great champions. It's just how often are they going to be good and how many of the big bad current defenders are they able to take? Being 6-star lock, she's not being able to do it quite as much as the champions that are 9s and 10s as you're about to see. As we move into the tier above all attackers, I think you can see immediately the 9s and 10s. These are champions that are just almost always dominant. It almost doesn't matter the meta. Of course, some, we have Safeguard right now, aren't going to be be able to work. But they have a large spread as far as the amount of metas they can be good in, how hard they are to knock off what they're doing, and the amount of like the big bad defenders they can take. All right, I hope that makes sense. The first one we're going to talk about briefly is Crossbones. Crossbones has been a 10 for a very long time. I'm starting to consider moving him down to a 9. There's a lot going on with the relationship between skill and science, and so I want to see that develop. I'm not saying that next month Crossbones will be a 9, but I've been a massive proponent of Crossbones over the last couple of years, so I at least wanted to call that out so that you know what I'm thinking as you think about your rank up resources and those sorts of things. Okay. The next one's going to be Silver Samurai, one of the new champions for the month. Awakened, he is an absolute Battlegrounds nuke. Now, how big his spread of defenders he can take, time's going to tell. But right now, being able to nuke generic matchups and also nuke Yelena's is a big deal because she's one of the biggest, baddest defenders in Battlegrounds as we speak. As I've talked about, Battlegrounds ratings are one of the most sensitive, though, because one new defender, one new attacker can really make a splash. So keep in mind that this has the dice emoji. We're starting off, we try to start off conservative, but a champion that we know for a fact can nuke down Yelena's and also be a general nuke when awakened is worthy of a 9 right now. We're going to continue to update that as we go, of course. The next one's going to be Carolina Dean. Started very conservatively. We had her as an 8 for a long time. Wanted to see how much of it is like RNG versus can be skilled around as far as her and the sun mechanic is concerned. Okay. We were aware that she was incredibly powerful. Well, yeah, it's going to take some skill to get used to it, but I recall in my new champion video being like, I didn't feel like the sun was that hard. It felt really worthy of chasing and a nice mechanic that you could skill your way around if RNG being like if the sun got put in the wrong place. You could, through skill, might take a little bit longer, but you could get there. And of course, she has the glancing mechanic. I will not be surprised if in a couple months, as more people pull her, as I hopefully pull her and get her to SIG 200 rank 4, if we see her as a 10. Her champion spread as far as the defender she can take is very, very, very large. Anyone's gaining that much power, I kind of called her like an updated current version of Hyperion. She is great. I'm very excited about her, and I think she's either going to plateau here at 9 and stay there for a very, very long time, or truly, honestly, move up to 10. And then the next one is what I've been calling Cull Absurdian. I love him. I literally filmed and uploaded a video while waiting in an airport and then from the runway to get on the plane because he was so good. I wanted you guys to know that. And he actually has been better than I even thought he was going to be. I try not to overhype champions. He is ridiculous. You've seen my video on him. You've seen my shorts. Hopefully, I see how many people have seen him. He just keeps getting better and better and better. Being able to shut down evade and auto block, do damage so incredibly fast. The one thing I'll say is it is possible for metas, defenders, these sorts of things to knock him off, but not really much more than other champions. So just keep that in mind. But I think he right now, the way it is, parry the non-contact attacks, he's taking bullseyes, onslaughts, Zolas, and so many more. I don't think this is a matchup you should rely on, but literally the other day live on stream, it was a rank 3 Maestro, so I don't think Cull's taken a rank 4, but I was even able to take a rank 3 Maestro. That just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be happening, and that's what I absolutely love about Cull, and I do think that needs to be reflected. Moving on to the dual threat category in the Scorching tier, we've got Mr. Knight, a new entrance into AM. And it's really interesting because, speaking of Simula, not currently a massive fan. And everything that Simula says about him, I'm like, yeah, that's actually true. That's right. And so I think a lot of that comes down to like your taste and what modes you're really enjoying and maybe what matchups you're struggling with. I feel pretty confident, though, with Mr. Knight being an 8 in dual threats. I think there's going to be a minimal amount of defensive power for him. Enough for him to be considered a dual threat, at least initially. See, we have the chick emoji, meaning like they're new. That might be part of what's enhancing it. But if he's putting you to sleep and then you go to sleep and then he just hits you upside the head in Battlegrounds where your health bar really matters, that's a defensive threat. We might learn how to get around that, though, in which case we'll move him to pure attacker. And then I tested him at length on stream, and even at a rank 3, now it was nodeless, so that's important to keep in mind. But even at a rank 3, he was absolutely destroying rank 4 SIG 200 Spider-Womans and Photons. If you can do that in Battlegrounds, you at least have a role. And I think Awakened, remember Awakened, he's going to start with his injuries, right? I believe the injury passives, and especially like at SIG 200 to get some for 12 seconds, that's going to allow him to get into his damage very, very, very fast. And then remember, he's shutting down miss and evade, which is a very, very common threat from defenders and also nodes. I really like Mr. Knight. There is a world where he gets moved down to a 7, but anything more than that would surprise me greatly. I do see Baron Zemo right there. We're just going to keep our eye on him. It's always tough to prognosticate these champions that were 6 stars, had kind of not fallen out of the meta. It's hard to say. Did they fall out of the meta because they were 6 stars or because their kit wasn't asked for too much? He's going to look very good in the upcoming Gladiator Circuit, I believe it is. Yeah, the Gladiator Circuit. So I don't want to get too misled by what we see there, but definitely dual threat 7 as a 7-star as well. Now let's go and move into the top tier above all, dual threats. And then we have 2 to talk about. And remember, dual threats, yes, I want more and more and more of them. I want the biggest portion of my my Battlegrounds deck to be made up of dual threats because they allow me to just draft them early, and it doesn't matter what my opponent does. I'm very likely to have a use for them, being offensively or defensively. They just provide so much flexibility and allow you to kind of handle or more easily ride through whatever RNG throws at you as the rest of the draft goes on. So that's why, you know, they're all important. You need and want a good grouping of all of these attackers, defenders, and dual threats. But why dual threats make up the biggest portion of my Battlegrounds deck most of the time. We'll quickly talk about Nick Fury. This is just a reflection of there's just so many champions that can take him now. They don't make it easy. He's still a very good defender. This is a 9. Keep in mind, anyone who's like, no, not Nick Fury. Just like, look, it's still a 9. That's phenomenal. Okay. And then also offensively, there's just not many matchups that he can nuke down anymore. The defenders have gotten more complex and things like that. And as you get higher and higher in Battlegrounds, like if you're going against like a Spider-Woman Jessica Drew, people are expecting to inequity, which is decreasing your attack value, making that fight take longer and longer. I've done it myself, okay? The next one and last one we will talk about is a promotion of Penny Parker. Thank you, Grass, for bringing this up and pointing out, look, I've taken Penny to a higher rank. Don't want to spoil any videos. Make sure you keep an eye on Grass there. But she's able to actually take quite a few champions. It feels like her pool, and remember, she's immune to poison. And then of course, as Battlegrounds grows, right, as more champions have a possible role in Battlegrounds, you're less able to predict for certain who and what champions you're going to be facing in matchups. Meaning, even though, yes, there are counters that absolutely laugh at Penny, the chances of your opponent having them and having them accessible to them in that draft, having them come up, have gotten lower and lower because there's so many possible champions that are good in Battlegrounds now. As a result, you're more likely to have success or be able to place your Penny and your opponent not have a great counter. And if they do, you can turn around and utilize that massive, massive damage off the SB2 node is Incinerate. But again, as things grow, you're less likely to run into Incinerate immune defenders. And then plus, she is also poison immune as well, helping you out with champions like Immortal Abomination or something like that that just comes up along the way. That is the tier list, and hopefully you heard the intro. Again, help me thank Simula for all of his hard work on the Illuminati. The next time you are going to use my creator code, the next time you're going to do it, and I know that's a lot of you, I see it and I'm grateful, but the next time you do, I'm going to ask you instead to use Simula's as a way to thank him for all of the knowledge share and time he's put into getting out great information for us. And then make sure you go subscribe to his channel and make him part of your rotation in your creator code uses if you weren't already. But you're really smart, and I have a feeling you were. Let me know what we think we got right. Let me know what we think we got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.